Madam Web is a 2024 superhero film which is the fourth in the Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe. Starring Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeny, and Adam Scott, the film was met with intense criticism from both fans and critics alike, which resulted in a less than stellar box office performance. However, I'm not here to add to any of this vitriol. I'm here to make the argument that Madam Web is actually a wildly underappreciated film. Let's take a look at the titular character herself. Madam Web, or Cassie, deals with a lot more baggage than I'd argue most superheroes. Take someone like Batman, for example. His parents are killed, but he still honors them and their legacy. Or Spider-Man himself, who uses what Uncle Ben says as the foundation of his moral compass. But Cassie has no love for her mother at the beginning of the film. In a juxtaposition I can only describe as brilliant, she stares coldly at a photo of her mother, gazing upon the person who needed to be there for her during her formative years, and utters the piercing sentence, "Hope the spiders were worth it, Mom." This is a struggle that is honestly disregarded with other superheroes. Bruce Wayne didn't need to go through the struggle of forgiving his parents, nor did Peter Parker. But Cassie does. Whatever her reasons exactly were for hating her mother are not explained to us, but we don't need them. We feel it through Johnson's performance. This is the cornerstone of what makes the script for the film so brilliant. There is such an emphasis on feeling versus just the narrative. The movie wants you to have the feeling of watching a good story. Like here, you know that feeling you get when something works in your favor and it feels as if it's just pure luck that it happened that way? That's the feeling Madam Web tries to convey at several different points throughout the film. On more than one occasion, Cassie is able to crash her car into someone at the exact right time and angle, her car barely being affected in the process. The feeling the film wants us to have is, wow, Cassie gets lucky over and over and over again. You both consciously and subconsciously root for her. Now let's take a look at the villain of the movie. Ezekiel Sims, the man who kills Cassie's mother to take the spiders and obtain their powers, runs some sort of multinational corporation. This once again is an example of feeling coming into play. We don't know what kind of corporation he runs or what his deeper motivations even are, but we don't need to. We get the feeling he's a villain that we need to root against. He's an archetype up there with the likes of Darth Vader and Sauron. And this notion of feeling above all else is cemented with his motivations against the main protagonists. He starts to get plagued by nightmares of 3 girls with similar powers killing him. He sees these as not just nightmares but premonitions of his own death. He vows to track down these people by any means necessary. And with ease, he has a brain scan to identify these would-be assailants, having his assistant view every single camera in New York City to find them. Despite the fact that there's no mention of them being from New York, or how his assistant would even be able to get that footage, the feeling we get from this is that Sims is an incredibly resourceful man who allows nothing to stand in his way. The 3 girls are tracked down and are nearly killed, but Cassie has the foresight to save them in the nick of time. But she also believes while they need saving, she feels as though they're resourceful enough for her to abandon them in the woods for hours with virtually no explanation. Now this may come off as irresponsible on her part, but I would argue this is her tapping into her intuition, believing that they can become the heroes they were meant to be. And even after Sims finally catches up to them, it's too late since she leaves them again to return to the Amazon to obtain the spider powers. They have an intense fight through New York, which ends in a brawl within the PepsiCo factory. The PepsiCo factory has fireworks in it, which is ingenious of Sims to lure them there since he knows that these fireworks have the firepower of rockets. They even take down a helicopter on the top of the PepsiCo building. They all team up and take down Sims by crushing him with the PepsiCo sign. But not before Cassie also falls into the water and is blinded. She spent her whole life being able to see, but now she must live without it. Such a feeling is expertly conveyed through Johnson's performance and the girls' reactions. But it's hope that caps off the film as the 4 of them band together to help the city. The bond we see them grow throughout the movie has finally hardened into a great payoff for the story. Madam Web is an example of a story that will be appreciated in time. When phrases such as superhero fatigue are thrown around so freely, this was an incredibly refreshing change of pace, something that I feel we were all waiting for. It's a movie that gives you a truly unique experience from any other superhero film or film out there.